Alright, we're starting turn 3 of Stout Hearts, a soon-to-be released game from Tiny Battle Publishing. We're using near final counters, graphics, and rules, but as usual, this is still playtest, so it's subject to change. So here we are, we're at turn 3. The British have been successful, at least, in clearing the German outpost line here. So if you read the rules, there is a game turn 8 check that says if there's any German outpost hexes still occupied at game turn 8, it's -3 VPs. So I think they're going to meet that one. The main line they have to have cleared by turn 12. So all of this needs to be cleared by turn 12 as a checkpoint also when it comes to victory points. So see here, got company A, C in the middle, B, so A on the left, B on the right, C in the middle. We do see the units here that captured this hex are static. They're going to need to be recovered. This unit isn't with supporting Churchill, and these units aren't either, the 3rd platoon, so they're in good shape there. Well, they've got to rally these guys. We do see Charlie Company looks good with supporting units. And then Bravo Company, they also seem to look good. So just on the left, Alpha Company may need some rallying. But this is also the turn where we get our barrage. So we'll see the barrage rules here in a second. Pre-planned, pre-targeted, well, or pre-planned, not sure, artillery strike. So we can't call any in this turn because this is the turn of our pre-planned. And notice we get it again on the turn 6 and turn 9, but we chose this at the beginning. We pick our turns for this, and each individual one has to be separated by at least 2 game turns, which we meet the requirement there. So just following the detailed sequence of play here, I have the rules on the side, but let me see, I can go ahead and pull up the player aid card that has it too. Not as detailed, but and these are near final graphics also. We see here we're down in the game turn sequence of play, and it's British operations, so the first thing we do is battalion HQ phase. Need to decide, well, first off, do I want to deploy the battalion HQ forward? As we previously discussed, if I've got one of these HQs static, the battalion HQ could deploy forward and give them what I'd call a kick in the butt and get them moving again, and they also help with combat. But if we do that, then he can't do all the cool stuff when they're off the board. And when the battalion HQ is in its normal position, they can try and deploy reserves, recall assets, recover assets. Okay, and that's since all 3 companies are in good, HQs are in good shape here, not static. Battalion HQ is going to stay off board. And we're going to do, the first thing we're going to do is take a shot at deploying the reserves again, because there's nothing to lose here. This is the reserve company, and the rules say to deploy the reserves 1 to 3. It's a 50-50 shot. So I'm going to roll here. 1, 2, 3. It's deployed. And again, the reserves are still saying we're finishing our tea time. So the reserves are off board. Deploy assets. Are there any assets in the assets available box? There are not. Okay, so we don't have to worry about doing that, deploying them out to the companies. But if I want to reallocate assets between companies, I have to pull them off the board. They go into the assets expended, but then they run the risk of, for whatever reason, not being available anymore. So at this point, you know, I'm good with this. We're going to stick with this for now. Stick with these deployed assets here. So with that done, the other thing is recover assets. Test if assets in the expended are returned to available. So 1d6 for each asset expended on a 1 to 3. Move to assets available. 4 to 5 it stays. 6 it goes away. So let's roll for these 2 mortar stonks. First one, 5, it just stays there. 2, it is available. But based on the order here, they are not available. Won't be deploying them until later. Okay. I'm just doing it in the order of the rules that you deploy assets, recall assets, and then recover assets. Okay. So that's the battalion phase. We'll deploy this later. There is a rule, only 3 assets per company on board, 2 assets off board. See here that A company has 2 assets, and then it does have 1, the machine gun section, the Churchill, and the ATG section on board. So they're at their max. Churchill, forward observer, which we're not going to use this turn, and ATG. So they're at their max, and again, these 3 are at their max too. 2 Churchill platoons and an ATG section. And we'll see later, ATG sections are helpful against German armor when it appears. Churchills are good against assaulting German infantry, although they are somewhat neutralized by German armor presence. And then machine guns are good at defending against counterattacks. Alright, so we have done the battalion HQ. Now we do the barrage phase, and the barrage phase basically says, if we want to look at the table of, let's get this here. Let's zoom it in a little here. So there it is, a barrage phase, and basically what that means is the British can place up to 5 barrage strikes on any German positions within 2 and 3 hex that are between 2 and 3 hexes in front of their forward line. They can't drop barrages right in front of them, but they can do 2 and 3. So all of these are in range. All of these aren't. So they're only going to drop 4. And the way we do that is, I'm going to grab this stonk marker and clone it 4 times. And yes, we're going to drop it on every one of them. And this will serve to suppress these German units if successful. Now again, I believe this is also on the table here. Yeah, regular artillery. Well, target suppressed on 1 to 4, and that also applies here. Let's see. Yep, resolve each strike by rolling 1d6 on a roll of 1 to 4. It is suppressed. Leave the marker there to indicate this. 5 or 6, it didn't work. So we're just going to move across the board. We're going to go for the first one, 1 to 4. It's suppressed. It is. The second one, suppressed. The third one, suppressed. I'll leave it to higher. All of them. Whoa, that was an awesome UK artillery strike, and that gives benefits to assaults. And we are actually, if we can rally this guy, we're in a position, well, we can assault at least these 2. We may not be able to move fast enough here, depending on the die roll check when we move into this hex. So that is the barrage phase. The next barrage will not occur until turn 6. Now hopefully by turn 6 they'll be in a position maybe to drop some artillery on these positions. So that's done. Moving on, we move to the British Company Headquarters phase. Company HQ is static. At the start of this phase, it must be reactivated. Well, all 3 company HQs currently on the board are not static. And with that said, an active HQ may undertake any or all of the following. They can move themselves. They can rally a company. They can call forward assets. They can rally static infantry platoons, rally static ground assets, call for fire, but not this turn because this was the turn that the barrage came. And then platoon actions. Platoons then can either do one of the following actions after being activated by the company. They can move. They can provide support fire. That kind of like soak-off fire for other German hexes, keep their heads down to aid an assault in another attack hex. Suppression fire, where they do, well, we've suppressed all of these German units now, but That helps with the assault, or if they move adjacent to a German unit, they have to do an assault. Now, let's back this up. So the first thing is, what do we want them to do? I don't think... Yeah, I added an extra count here to mark the initial, and nobody's had any losses yet, so there's no rallying any, getting back to full strength that we started the game with. They can't rally beyond that starting point we rolled for in the beginning of the game. So they're not going to do that. Call forward one or more assets in the company access box. Well, they've all got 3. So they can't really call any of these forward. They're at their limit on board. And I don't think I did anything there. So the next is rally static infantry platoons. As long as the company HQ has a clear line of communication, roll 1d6 against the company rally strength. So we have one company here, part of Alpha Company. And if we look at Alpha Company's strengths, they are here. So they need to roll a 1, 2, or 3. Let's make sure. 7, the strength of 3. If the result is equal to or more, or more. Okay, this goes up. Got to keep track of what it is. So they got to roll a 4, 5, or 6, and then this guy comes back online, which would be nice, so he can move up here and assault this hex. Let's see what happens here. 4, 5, or 6 to rally. No. Then we go for the asset, and that's different. It's a 1, 2, or 3. According to the rules, the asset becomes active, so... Okay, the asset became active. But the platoon is still not back. Yeah, there's no other tricks here. They failed their activation roll. The ground asset's good. There's nobody else. So we're doing Alpha Company first. I should do this bit by bit here. So Alpha Company's been rallied. Now the question is, can this guy move through here and at least start the assault? Because and there's a second one here too. So in theory, if we can get these guys up here, we can get assaults on these while they're still static. That would be ideal. That's what the platoons want to do. There's no need for suppression fire and or support fire. I mean, that could come in handy, but we'll see. These units haven't even been revealed. So the only thing we need to check is if we can get them there. Well, this is problematic for Alpha Company. The rules basically say British combat unit moving within 3 hexes and the line of sight of 1 or more unsuppressed German positions exerting a ZOC is limited to 1 hex of movement per operations phase. So these can only move 1 hex because they're within 3 hexes of here. They can't move fast, let's say. And then the rules then say once you come within 2 hexes and the line of sight of an unsuppressed... Oh, unsuppressed. I digress. They're both unsuppressed. They're both suppressed. All of them are suppressed. Totally awesome. Boom. And, yeah, I guess he'll take the company one here with him here. And the MG is left behind, so this is great. That artillery barrage arrived just in time. These units are suppressed, therefore the rules for German zones of control don't apply. And the reason I just rushed them both forward is because now as soon as I move adjacent, we have to reveal these. Maybe I should have done one at a time. Okay, that's a good unit. I'm hoping for one of these being a mine. That means these 2 units can combine to assault this unit. But the mine hex, let's go ahead and look at what a mine does. I think that may not be good for that unit moving adjacent here. So if we look at a mine, let's see what it says. So the mine is actually called a denied area. I'm going to go ahead and remove this. There's no reason to do this. This has to be assaulted or the mine's cleared by the UK unit then to get this hex, which you're going to have to do by turn 12 to make sure they don't lose victory points. But they don't have to do it now. So if they assaulted them now, it would be a 50-50 chance to be able to clear these mines. 1 to 3, no effect. 4, 5, or 6, or 4 or 5, clear it, and the advancing unit can go in, but it's static, and then a 6, remove the marker and just assault. Now, I could do that, but if you've got the Pioneer Patrol, which is an asset, it changes things. You add 2 to the die roll. So it's only if you got to roll a 1, no effect. If you roll a 2 or 3, obviously it's cleared. And then if you roll higher than that, basically if you roll a 4 or higher, you're going to get it cleared and no loss. And then there's some effect on the Pioneer platoon. But bottom line is I don't think the Pioneer platoon is deployed right now. Yep, there's that one. I'll have to look at my counters, but there is one available here for Bravo Company. So we'd have to shift them over to handle that. But for now, instead, we are going to assault this hex with both units. I'll deal with this later. This is the bigger threat, and if we're successful, then that will reveal whatever this unit is, even though we couldn't get to it. So, let's see, terrain effects. I don't think there really are any. Let me pull these off here. That looks like an orchard. Let's look at the terrain effects chart, the new one. I think I have it here. I'll find it, I swear. There it is. That's woods and scrub. Oh, defensive modifier, +1, level 2. Okay, that's okay. So they get a +1. So let's go ahead and again we'll pull up the let's follow that assault procedure here to make sure we get it right. So resolving combat actions, and I'll show you this on the TIFF here. That's another one. There we go. And here we have the assault routine. Add the combat strength of assaulting units, add the combat values of assets directly supporting, add the combat value of units and assets providing supporting fire. Okay, so we have 3 and 3 is 6. I'm pretty sure the ATG doesn't get us anything, but the Churchill doubles the infantry unit stacked with it. Let's make sure about that. MM anti-tank, defensive fire only, so that won't help us. But the Churchill unit, yeah, infantry tank platoon, doubles combat value of stacked infantry patrol. So yeah, it just doubles them. So literally this becomes 3 and 3 is 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is what they got. The ATG doesn't add anything. And then after we do that, deduct 2 from the if for each enemy position adjacent it is not suppressed. Well, the mines really don't matter. Roll 1d6 and add to it. So they've got 9 plus 10. Not great. Combat value for the Germans is 3. They get a +1 for terrain, but deduct 2 if suppressed. So they're a 2. Okay, so it's 3 + 1 for the terrain, 4, but they're suppressed by the artillery barrage, so that's 2. And 9 minus 2 is 7. That's what you do there. And then if we pull up the TIFF, 5 or more, success, no losses, eliminated, advance after combat. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this stonk. I can delete this. We can see this has a Charlie on it, which means it goes to, if eliminated, it pretty much trickles back to the Charlie. And there's nothing wrong. Let's see. Advance after combat, but this is time. Maybe I should advance this guy because the ATG is good for defense. So let's do this. Let's advance these guys. The next thing we find out is, okay, another German infantry unit. Too bad we can't assault them. Well, they were suppressed, but we did successfully take the hex. So that's done. And we're not in the German counterattack phase yet, but this will generate a German counterattack during that phase, and we'll roll for it here when we get there. Hold on, let me pull up the sequence of play to make sure I get this right. Yeah, here's the sequence of play. here, the German count. So we do all British combats before we start doing the combat phase. But this is going to generate a counterattack. Actually, clearing this hex would generate a counterattack too. So that's, be careful when you clear the mines. But that is Alpha Company. Okay. They have finished. I could have waited. You know, I should have moved all these guys first. I'll do that for Charlie and Bravo. So the question becomes, they're going to move within 2 here. They can only move within 1 of a... Well, this is suppressed, and they've got full movement. But this is one strong unit. Got a Churchill platoon here, ATGs for counterattack, and a Churchill... Okay, these are the units. Now again, this suppression is making our life a lot easier. I think what we'll do is assign Bravo Company, because they've got the Churchills. They can get doubling here, and they've got the movement too. So these guys, though, can just move 2. Don't want to move adjacent to him. That'll pin me. So I'll come 1, 2. And if I look at this guy, well, let's do it this way. I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to move this guy up here. That's a Churchill. That's nice. If I move him here, he's stuck having to clear this. Well, these guys can clear this if they want. I'll do that. Maybe they will clear it. I don't know. They'll take a shot at it. What's the worst that can happen? Of course, by asking that question, that will happen. And I got one guy from Charlie Company. He doesn't want to move there. And problem is, you're only allowed 1 support unit per hex, so this would be too many. Actually, 1, 2. We're gonna move this guy here and let this guy do potentially advance after combat into this and clear that hex. So that's moved, and we'll roll for that later. But now we gotta put the hurt down on this hex, because that 4 unit's pretty strong. Yep. So there we go. And the only reason I could pull that off is they're suppressed. Perfect timing for that artillery barrage. So now we do our actions. And let's go ahead and look again at denied areas. So if they try it, hex cannot be until the road is by an infantry platoon. I guess we've got so many it doesn't matter. I'm going to pick this one to try and do it. On a 1 to 3, no effect. On a 4 to 5, it's cleared. On a 6, it's cleared. So let's see what happens. If cleared, remove the marker and advance. Awesome. This unit doesn't really exist anymore, so we just pull it off. This was awesome. And we advance with a nice defensive ATG unit. We are not suppressed, but we will draw a counterattack. So that's successful. And now the full court press on this guy. So we're going to see we've got 3, but it's double to 6. 9 and 6 is 15. 15. And let's check the terrain effects chart for what I believe is a town. Always go the wrong way. Bear with me here. Nope. There it is. And if we look at a farm stone, that's what it looks like there. Well, it looks like this. Oh, +2 modifier. But they're suppressed, so that goes away. So that flattens out, and they've got 4. So let's go ahead and make our die rolls. I think I didn't die roll over here. We'll let that ride. I made a mistake. I didn't roll for the Germans, but let's see what we got here. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Or maybe I do. Let's assume I did. 12. 6 and 6 is 12. 12 and 3 is 13. Oh, that's nice. 18 to 4. 9 is still 9, and they're over. So that's another kills it kind of thing. Yeah, I think I'll assume I rolled for the Germans and they rolled low here. But we did see, again, just to review, I added all the attacking units, any modifiers if they had unsuppressed German units adjacent. They didn't, so the Churchills really helped. Got them to 15, this, even though they rolled a 9, a 4 plus 5. Here they did get a +2 for the town, but they get a -2 for being suppressed. So that is a clear victory also. But it will draw a count, and this is a Charlie. So, yeah, I think I did miss that. I apologize. Just assume they rolled a 1. And we'll move this guy up to in the ATG section. So we are generating 3 German counterattacks here. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Pull up the charts. Alright, first we are on the response table here. And we are hitting the main line. So this is mortars cause suppression here. We get an actual counterattack. So let's roll first for this hex. 6. I've got to do something about this here. Hold on. And I'll just keep this off map. 6. Ouch. Oh, it's just a counterattack, and then we roll for the number of units. 1 to 3 is 1. 4 to 6 is 2. Let's see how many units. 2 units. Alright, so, and this will come out of the Bravo Cup. Okay. Sorry about my graphics freaking out there. Wait, that is not... Yeah, these are just units. Yep, they're okay. So we get 2 units. 1. German units don't stack. 2. And they will attack this outpost. Oh, we have problems. My units are having problems. Oh, it's this one. Mask. Mask. Oh, we'll have to look up what this does. So we have a straight counterattack, but we have a forward observer and a German infantry unit. Oh, I'm sorry, that's this hex here. There we go. So these two are going to counterattack this hex. And then we'll do resolution here, so let me pull that up. Okay, reading the chart for this in the rules, it basically says if the forward... Now if it's revealed when you're attacking a hex, everybody within 3 hexes gets 5 or 6 suppressed of bombardment. But if activated during a counterattack, it calls in artillery fire, and on a 5 or 6, it makes these units static. And then these guys will attack. So let's see what happens here. It rolls a 5 or a 6. Roll 1d6 for every British unit and asset. On a 5 or 6, the unit or asset is flipped to its static side. So we actually have the HQ, so we're going to roll 3 times. Work our way down. The first, the HQ unit. Bummer. The ATG section. And the platoon. Okay, Vassal, you're playing games with me. I'll take the first one. Let's roll the other 2 here. That's a bit crazy. Okay, 2 or 4. The other 2 aren't. 3 6s in a row. I do not think so. That's a function of Vassal. I should sometimes use another dice roller. So the major is hunkering down, but the ATG and other unit is good. And so now we move on to the actual assault of this unit. And they say this unit is removed. I don't see an A, B, or C, so we'll move it over there. So then this unit will attempt an assault on this position, and they get a +1 defensive modifier. So let's look at the procedure for counterattack. If we carry this out here, let's find the TEC here. And we do have the counterattack routine. We don't need this anymore. I'm going to lose this when that happens. Let's get rid of that. And let's see what we got for the counterattack. For each individual add combat value of the counterattacking units, check the unit characteristics, and A2 for special effects. 1d6 for the British combat value of defending units. Oops, check the unit characteristics. deduct 1 from the score if the defending platoon is static. Wow, dodge that bullet. So we've got a 3-on-3 and the ATG is only for tanks. But we get a +1 for the forest. So we're going to check the unit characteristics though for the German straight 3 infantry. Blank outpost. Yeah. Yep, nothing adjusted for terrain. So this looks like a straight 3 versus 3, but we get a +1. So the German number is 6. The British number is 6, but they get the +1 defense. So that's the tiebreaker. The British succeed in defending, but only by the narrowest margins. So it's just, it's actually -1. That's what we got. Net score is -1 because the Germans were the attackers. So it could have gone either way, and one attack, so they repulsed it. They repulsed it. So this guy is going to go now to resource pot C. Okay, so that hex holds. Now we roll for this hex. Counterattack. Let's see what happens. It's over here. Main. We roll the die. A 5 is a counterattack. We roll for the number of units. 3 is just 1 unit. Okay, so we're pulling out of resource spot B. This was something. And boom. That's the 1 unit. Let's see what it is. Oh, it's a MG42. This looks like a straight combat. The ATG is not going to help us. If we had a machine gun, it would help us, but we have the ATG. That would have helped us against infantry. I mean, against any panzers showing up. Just let me make sure here. Anti-tank. Defensive fire only in the German counter. Doubles combat value stack if attacked by German tanks. So it doesn't help us at all. We got a straight 3 versus 3, but I think we also get, yep, we will get the CRT modifier for the city. Check that to be sure. It looks like level 2 stone actually is a +2. Yeah, +2. Luckily this was mines we cleared. It wasn't an actual German unit. So we've got a +2. We got 5. They got 3. So the German roll is... Ooh, they got a 9. And then our roll is 8. We're going to lose. That's a -1 result. Wow. Let's check that out on the counterattack table. And if we pull that over and we see -1, well, it's a +1 for the Germans. I apologize again, I did it. The Germans got 9. The British defending got 8. That's a +1. Position lost. Retreat 1 hex and go static. Ouch. So both these units are flipped. Alright, see, it wasn't as easy as you think. These counterattacks can become vicious. I was anticipating tanks to be double, but I didn't get that. +1, retreat and go static. Advance 1 German unit into the vacated hex. If there is a second German counterattack unit, remove that from the map. They retook it. Ooh, that's bad news because that's a +2. Alright, well that definitely is a setback. And we got one more attack here. One more counterattack. So we're going to go ahead and pull up the TIF. Here we go. And let's see what kind of counterattack here. A 4. Okay, sorry about that. And a 4 is a counterattack. See, we're on this table here, and it's just a straight CA. So let's see how many units there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 unit. So let's pull it from resource pot B. They're shuffled every time, so that's kind of a misnomer. They're coming in from this attack. And... oh boy. That is not a unit to be messed with. The ATG does not help us. But we've got kind of yellow coloring. Let's see what the... should have advanced 2 units in there. You can stack 2 platoons. Live and learn. Yeah, they should have... This guy should have advanced and left the asset with that. And then maybe we'd have a chance, but... Wow. We may be kicked out of 2 of these hexes. Let's see what we get for that brownish colored. There. It's a +2. Both of them are +2s. Okay, that's good. We're a 5, they're a 4. Hopefully we can hold this hex. Here we go. The German attack roll is... Dang! 10. Oh. 10. We got a tie. Okay, let's see what the tie gets us. That's a 0. Position held. German units removed from map. Yeah. Awesome. Alright, we held. Good job. That was a scary one. B Company, they go into the Charlie Cup. To be used later in the Charlie Cup. There we go. So, wow. Those counterattacks, a bit scary there. This stunk marker is going to go away, so we still got to wrestle with these guys. Did learn here's the stacking rule is key. I can do 2 platoons, but I can only do 1 asset. So if each platoon has an asset, got to leave it behind, and or NHQ can carry an asset too. Yeah, we're getting through that first main line, but there's a lot back here. And if these counterattacks are any indicator, things could get kind of messy going forward. So let's go ahead and clean this up here at the end of the phase, make sure we don't miss anything. So we've done our counterattack phase. Line of communication check. All the Brits are in a LOC to the back board. Got to roll for flank progress here. Remove smoke, remove artillery. Sure, VP is updated. Move game turn 1 forward. I'll do that later too. But we will remove this stonk marker. Delete. I think that's all we need to do. And the only thing we got left to do is roll for flank progress. We've left them way behind, but we'll go ahead and roll for that. Not worried about losing victory points for that one. So let's pull up our picture here. I've lost it. I'm just looking up the numbers here. Well, here it is. 1 to 2, 3 to 5 is 1 hex, and 6 is 2 hexes. So let's roll for the left flank. 3, I think, is advance 1 hex. Yeah, they're creeping along. They're losing victory points to us. And the other one, 4. But I think that's only 1 hex too. So they're not really advancing that fast. I get if they got 2 turns of 2, they could get ahead of us. But all right, that is the end of the turn. We did take 2 of the first mainline positions, but we almost had 3, but we lost 1 from a counterattack, and this is a powerful unit. This one was kind of scary. That was a 4. That could have gone either way. We could have been kicked out. So in hindsight, I should have made that stronger. But here we got a whole bunch of cool victory points if we can get through these guys. These guys, though, can move forward and claim it. We'll have to check this for line of sight. I believe that is probably blocking terrain. I do have it here somewhere too. Not using the latest. Here we go. So let's look at some of this. Open terrain, ridge or hill, level 3. So none of these Germans, this is reverse slope stuff here. They can't see us. None of them can, well, coming around this way they could see me. So that frozen in German line of sight doesn't apply. So we're going to see these units when we crest the hill. We're going to hit these units. And we could avoid this guy by coming up this way if we want to too. There's a level 4 terrain. Wow. Okay. So it looks like taking that position is we're going to have to come up and over the hill. Probably can do it here. Depending on rallying, could do it here. I don't think these guys are supposed to move, so I apologize. I'm making errors here. Where were these guys before? I'll just put them back here. Yep, made a few errors. Didn't roll for one of the Germans here, and this guy shouldn't have moved because he was static. But that's okay. We're getting there. Nothing game-changing yet. So, yeah, all bets are off here. Don't really know if we're going to make it. Here's where the main battle is. Right here. And then this isn't chump change either. So, gonna end it here. Thanks for watching, and maybe there'll be a turn 4 here. So have a good one.